Okay, so we talked about before the different problem-solving techniques we might use in some of these situations with roommates or living by ourselves or living in a care facility. Now, remember when we were talking about having roommates before and the importance of sharing responsibilities and roles with cleaning and cooking and being a respectful roommate, being quiet when the other person is trying to sleep. So you can also expect that out of them. If you are being really noisy when they're trying to sleep and you expect them to be quiet, it's probably not going to work too well. So as long as you have expectations drawn out and some agreements made about what is the duty of what each other's duties are when it comes to living together, things should be able to get better. But there's other situations that you might encounter as well when you're out living, either if you're going to do shared living and live in your family's home, or living in an apartment with family, or a group home, or a care center. So we're going to continue on with our fifth problem-solving situation. And in this situation, you are an adult, which you all are adults, and you are living in your family home. Your mother is sick and can't cook dinner, and you don't feel like cooking. Is this an emergency? Now remember, let's go to our emergency page, and we are going to see when we're solving a problem, if it's an emergency, that means that someone is seriously hurt. Is someone seriously hurt? Not in this situation. Is someone in serious danger? No. Does something need to be done right now? Not really. So if your mom is sick and she can't cook dinner and you don't feel like cooking, who can help you? Well, you're an adult, and you can hopefully find some other things to snack on or to eat that are healthy, so you don't actually have to cook anything. Maybe you're going to pour yourself a bowl of cereal and put some milk in there, so you're not going to be hungry, even though it's not a dinner like your mom would make, or you don't feel like cooking. You don't have to have a home cooked meal all the time, every day, even if it's what you're used to. So maybe you want to make a microwave dinner. That's not really cooking. That's just kind of doing some heating up in the microwave. You don't want to cook. You could also make a sandwich. And if you don't want to do anything, another option would be to order delivery and ask your mom if she wants something too, so you can help take care of her. If she can't cook dinner, she still needs to eat. Maybe you'd order some soup or something that she could have, or a sandwich, or something healthy. But it's important to stay nourished, so you still need to eat. Even if it's not something that your mom makes, you can find something around the house that you can nourish your bodies with, like fruit or vegetables. Make your microwave meal, make a sandwich, like I said, or order something that you can also make sure your mom is getting something too. Hopefully, I know some of you have practiced ordering in Katie's room, and even if you don't order over the phone, there are ways you can order online, and maybe your mom could even help you do that. Okay, the next one, you live in an apartment with your brother. You accidentally took his medicine instead of yours, and you start to feel dizzy. Is this an emergency? Yes, that is an emergency. You took someone else's medicine. You don't know how it's going to respond you don't know how you are going to respond to it being in your body. So you've already started to feel dizzy. It's an emergency. You would definitely need to call your brother or a person that supports you. It doesn't mean, and if you can't get a hold of them, then you would need to call 911 and tell them what was going on to make sure that you were staying safe. So I would first try to get a hold of somebody close to you that knows what you took, that could also help you. If you can't get a hold of anyone, like your support person or your brother whose medicine you took, you would need to call the hospital or poison control, or 911 to let them know that you accidentally took something that wasn't yours, you didn't mean to, you're feeling dizzy, and they will help you through it. Maybe they will set up transportation for you to come get checked out. Maybe they'll say, if you just drink a glass of milk, you should vomit it up and it shouldn't be a problem. But they will guide you through it. You don't know what effect it could have on your body unless you talk to those people and get their guidance. So it is an emergency, and you want to take care of that as soon as possible. But first ask your sibling or the person that supports you, or your parent or guardian, as long as you can get hold of them in a short enough amount of time where you're not going to get more sick. Number 3, you live in a group home with other adults. You do not get along with the person you share a room with. This person makes you very mad. Is this an emergency? Let's go to our problem solving page. Is this an emergency? Is someone seriously hurt? No. Is someone in serious danger? No. Does something need to be done right now? Not for your safety. If you're not getting along with a person, what can help might be having a conversation with them and figuring out why you don't get along with them. What is going on between the two of you that is making you upset? What are they doing to provoke you, and what are you doing in your response that is making you upset? So what will you say or do? You could have a conversation with them. Maybe you could lay down some ground rules. Maybe you could set up a schedule. It's kind of vague about what the person does to make you mad. You could spend time outside of your group home if possible, like outside on the lawn, or and if it gets bad enough, I would talk to one of your supervisors or your support person and say, I'm trying to work this out. Can you help me? And if it doesn't work out, you have the right to ask for a new situation, a new arrangement. And maybe it's a home that doesn't have enough flexibility to allow that, but it could. So we want you to be healthy and safe and happy where you live. And if you need to get someone involved to make sure that's going to happen, then you should definitely do that. It's not an emergency. It doesn't need to be taken care of right at that moment, because no one is in danger and no one is seriously hurt or seriously sick. But it's something that you should be able to talk about. And the last one we're going to talk about today is that you live in a care center. You're not being given the chance to make any choices on your own. Is this an emergency? This is a tricky one, because you should always get to make some choices. And it depends on what type of choice they're offering. Maybe you don't want to take your medicine, and it helps to make sure that you don't get sick. I would say this is something that you would need to talk about with your support person, unless they are the person that's not letting you make your choices. You definitely need to tell someone. I find it to be more of an emergency. Something does need to be done at that minute. You might not be in danger at this point. You might not be sick, but something does need to be done, because you are allowed to make choices and you have that right. So if somebody is taking away your rights, something needs to change with where you're living or who is helping to support you. You should be able to make the choices about what you wear, if you want to go somewhere or not, who helps you, who is involved in your life, who you talk to, all these choices that come up every day in your life. You have a say over that. If you don't care about some things, that's fine. You don't have to. There's some choices that I make that I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. Like if you're going to go out to eat with your friend and your friend chooses every time, that doesn't really bother me, because I don't want to make that choice. But if you are not even being given the chance to make your own choices, and it gets to be really bad where you don't feel like anyone is advocating for you, that is a big problem. So in that situation, if you're not comfortable talking to the person about it who is making these choices for you, I would tell your family or another person that's very close to you. Maybe it's another staff, maybe it's a guardian, maybe it's a close friend of yours, but you would just tell them what's going on. I'm not able to make choices. Nobody is giving me the opportunity. I've said something before. I've expressed my opinion about not wanting this, and they do not listen. That is a big problem. Something needs to change there, and you have the right to make choices and to advocate for yourselves. So I hope this helps. I hope you don't come along most of these situations or any of these situations. But life happens, and sometimes some not so good things might come up in our lives that we just need to push through and take care of through conversation and through communication with another person. So I hope you found this helpful. How would you handle the last 4 that we talked about? So we talked about not feeling like cooking, not an emergency. Taking medicine that wasn't yours, that's an emergency. Not getting along with someone, not an emergency. And then not being able to make your own choices, which I would say is something that needs to change. It might not be an emergency at that moment, but it could lead to one. So I hope this is helpful. And I would love to hear how you all answered these different problem-solving situations differently. I will see you next time.